Have you ever wondered what it's like to drive for Uber or other rideshare food delivery platforms in other areas of the world? Well, today we're going to sit down with Fernando, a fellow Uber driver in Brazil. He's also a YouTube channel called Fernando Floripa Motorista Uber, providing experience about his time with Uber and other drivers within the area as well. Fernando is also part of StopClub, which is a social app that's designed to connect drivers and followers for a more communal effort. Okay, so thank you, Fernando, for coming on. And you are a Uber driver and doing other apps in Brazil. So it's awesome to see other parts of the world with things. So we have a couple of questions that we'll ask, and thank you for taking your time for coming on. And so first off, how is it driving in Brazil?
So first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to share with you and thousands of others drivers in the USA and around the world how is the reality of Uber drivers in Brazil. So how is driving in Brazil? It's a big challenge. In the past, the job was very simple. Just sit in the car, accept rides, not more. Now, when you work with Uber, you have to worry about many variables in order to get a good result. Drivers have to know their city well. They have to work with strategy to make more money. And if they don't, they could even lose money. And you also need to have in Brazil an economical car to reduce your expenses. You have to know how to deal with people, because here, for any complaint, a driver could end up being banned from Uber without even knowing why, and have to file a lawsuit to try to reverse the situation. The drivers has to worry a lot about security because of the crime rates. And I believe that unlike the United States, here in Brazil, I would dare to say that being an app driver is a risk job.
Yeah. So thank you. That's very similar to the US in many aspects. Unfortunately, even the safety around here has been problematic as of recently, mostly from the pandemic with COVID and all that. So it is unfortunately a problem around here too. Hopefully they do work to fix that for both the United States and Brazil, as well as rest of the world. So hopefully we'll see something soon. How is the driver community in Brazil?
So in Brazil, it's very diverse. We have all types of people, from people with low education to university grads. It's common to find engineers, lawyers, among other higher level professionals who work as driver or delivery guy. And many do so because unemployment or even because they find opportunities of greater earnings in apps, either as a primary or supplementary income.
And then also, how long have you been driving for Uber?
I have been working with Uber Drive for 5 years. I started in September 2016 out of necessity. I need to increase the phone income because of the arrival of my third child. I have 3 kids. But now, something I didn't expect is that I ended up falling in love with the activity because as I'm passionate about cars, and I found a way to get paid to drive. I even like to joke, I get paid to drive around my city. It's fun.
Nice. Yeah, that's very similar to mine. I started in October of 2016, so right around the same time as you. And basically, I thought the same exact thing. It's great to get paid to drive. I enjoy driving already, so it's very similar. That's awesome to see. So yeah, if you like cars, you like driving around and enjoy it, it's a great way to make some extra money, or your main source of income if you know what you're doing and all that. So that's awesome to see too. Even separated around the world, and still find very similar reasons on why. Besides what you had mentioned before, is there anything else that drew you to drive for Uber?
So first, the opportunity for a quick and easy extra income. For you to join this job, you just need a car and register on the app, and that's it. You can now be an Uber driver, accept rides, and earn money. Second is flexibility. Work at Uber allows me to shape my journey to my personal needs, which gives me the chance to reconcile the same with other activities and have different incomes.
Okay. And then are you driving any other apps, and what is available in Brazil?
Yes. I work with several apps because I'm not in favor of loyalty to any. I believe that the driver should explore the best of each app in order to maximize the results. There are those who are loyal to a single platform like Uber, but here the vast majority work with more than one company. And about other apps in Brazil like Uber, we have companies like 99, a Brazilian app that was bought by the Chinese company Didi, and the other app, the Russian app in Driver. And we have also shopping and delivering platforms like Corner Shop, iFood, etc. And there, we are also some very interesting initiatives of regional transport apps, small business created by drivers or entrepreneurs who take advantage of the failures of large companies to conquer their space in the market. And these apps generally offer great opportunities for earnings, recognition, and a closer and more human treatment with the driver. I don't know if you have this type of the app or employee job in USA, other apps for small apps.
There's smaller apps. It's very local in certain areas. So, Houston, Texas might have one. San Francisco might have another one. So there's small apps that are designed more for city-based. Some have expanded into other areas and other markets. But yeah, there are some that are trying to start up and grow. Seems like entrepreneurs everywhere are trying to, find the faults of one company, fix them, and present them in their own platform. So it just depends on, if they take off and have the ability to, have a wild spread like Uber could, or Uber did. Now, are you driving full-time, part-time? Have you taken any time off from when you first started to now?
Well, since I started, I never stopped. Sometimes I drive more, at other times a little less. It depends on the conciliation of my activities. I believe that you should never depend on a single job, a single source of income. And because of that, I have several jobs. So part of my time, I work at Uber. Part of time, I conduct a job on social networks like Uber to guide Uber drivers. And on the other part, I work with the company StopClub, which is also to help through an app that promotes connection and exchange of experience between drivers from all over the world.
Yeah, it's good to spread out. I do Uber, Lyft. I just added Spark, which is the Walmart delivery. Yeah, doing YouTube and things. So you always got to make sure, no matter what, you're doing more than just one app, because as you said earlier, a deactivation can just completely stop everything, and now you have to find something else. And it could take a little bit of time, and if you need to pay bills and things like that, you can't. So yeah, it's definitely good to diversify where that is. So do you know of any notable differences driving in Brazil versus the US, or does it seem pretty similar?
So yes, I think the biggest difference is lack of safety. Here in Brazil, for example, we have the option of payment for trips in cash, which help the platforms to be more democratic and accessible. At the same time, that it brought safety weaknesses. Since anyone with an email and a phone number can open an account and request a car. So this makes it difficult to identify the passenger in critical situations. So it's a great problem here. The other thing, the quality of the roads is also another thing. I have visited the USA twice, and I assure you, the roads here are much worse. So which makes work difficult, damage the cars, and raises their maintenance costs. And the third thing, the cars here are much smaller size, inferior in terms of finish and power, and very expensive. For do you have an idea? Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic here are considered large cars and used in Uber Black. And the options for example, electric or hybrid car are very few and extremely expensive. A hybrid car costs here up to 30% more than one with a traditional engine. A new Toyota Corolla here around $31,000, and a hybrid costs $40,000. And that's a lot of money for an Uber driver who make less than $1,000 a month here.
Wow. Yeah. So you can see that
it's a big problem.
Yeah, the price difference is quite a bit. And then is that less than $1,000? Is that based on full-time driving?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Some people can make $1,000, $2,000, even $3,000 a week here in the US, depending on certain markets and if there's promotions going on. So that's a lot different there than here. And then how has the pay been for driving with Uber?
So in Brazil, as in the USA, the driver feels that his earnings have been drastically reduced over time, while the app fee has been growing. It is common to see several trips where almost 15% of the amount paid by the passenger stays with the app. In addition to the app fee, we have this issue of lack of readjustment. We haven't had any readjustment since Uber started in Brazil 8 years ago. On the contrary, we saw the reduction of values based on the SKUs that lower values stimulate demand. And so we would earn more with the increase in the numbers of trips, which ends up not being true, because with the increase of work comes the increase of the costs. And when we add to the equation things like fuel costs, which has more than doubled in recent years, vehicle acquisition cost, and even the cost of living, this has generated for the drivers a serious sense of loss of purchasing power, and they need to work harder and harder in the hope of make up for low earnings.
Okay, so that does seem very similar again to how the US has been operated, where you're seeing those fees go up from 20, 25, 30, 40, 50% of the fare goes to Uber versus the driver. So we're seeing that here too. The pay for some areas has actually decreased over time. It started much higher and then it's decreased over time. So other than that, yeah, it's been pretty much staying the flat. The only difference is right now they'll have like the fuel surcharge, which is 45 or 55 cents extra per trip with the higher gas, at least in the US. I'm not sure if that's the same in Brazil, but yeah, it's not much to help drivers sometimes unless you're taking all short rides, but that's a whole different thing. But beyond that, what challenges have you faced as being an Uber driver?
So my biggest challenge was to find knowledge about the job, to find information about what's like to be an Uber driver and how to become a more efficient professional. There wasn't a place to find that information. And that is why I decided to create a YouTube channel to share experience, tips, and the knowledge, both mine and from other drivers in Brazil. And that's in November 2016, the Fernando Floripa Uber Driver channel was born, which today has almost 400,000 followers and 8 million views, and has the purpose of helping drivers in Brazil, and who knows, maybe one day, ever from around the world, to be better and more efficient professionals.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. And that's, kind of like the RideShare Guy. All right. So how we got introduced is through this app called StopClub, and Harry and Louise, who is the founder of StopClub, already had done an interview and had talked about it when it came to the RideShare Guy podcast. So if you just want to kind of give a real short, brief explanation on StopClub and kind of some of the things, how it might have helped you as a driver as well.
So StopClub makes gig works more connected. The apps has safety, communication, and experience exchange tools that help in the daily work, but the main thing is the community. On the safety side, the secret camera is what stands out the most because the user does not need to buy an external camera. This makes a lot of difference for the gig worker to have proof against situations in a real routine, both for deliveries and with passengers. Still talking about safety, but already entering the community. The app allows you to share your location to see in real time where your friends are. This is very useful for find help when problems occur or for meeting up and having a coffee. StopClub creates a working environment and brings the gig community together. In addition, through StopClub, we have gathered several influencers who are joining forces to generate a united front of information and guidance, which we call the League. In the League, we promote the channels of our members, increase your reach. Look like you guys did there too. And you use the StopClub app to interact with our followers in a way that's not possible using YouTube or Instagram. This has fostered an incredible connection with them. It's a good tool, great tool.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm looking forward to trying it out. I was talking with Louise earlier, and he was saying, yeah, he wanted to try it out. So I'm really interested in it and trying to get other drivers in my area to also try it, because that sense of community can be really good, especially if there's any issues, problems. Just overall, it would be good, because then you can get people on the same page. Even promotions and reaching out to people, different things like that can be really helpful. So it seems really great, and looking forward to trying it and enjoying that there. So, all right. And then obviously one of the big things right now is gas prices are all over the place. Here it's insane. I'm sure it's probably just as bad there or even worse. So how is the gas prices there? How has it increased? And what are you doing to try to combat the higher gas prices?
Let me see. The gas prices here has gone up a lot, reaching 100% in the last year, which ended up directly affecting Uber drivers, flattening profit margins and leading many drivers to abandon the activity. In Brazil, fuel expenses represent 50% of earnings. For every R$1 you earn here, 50 cents are left as the gas station. So it's very, very expensive. And to make a good profit and try to compensate for inflation and fuel prices, the driver needs or to work a lot, or to work with strategy, seek to earn more and spend less. In order to reduce expenses, many opt for more economical cars with a smaller horsepower, or even converting to vehicle to natural gas, which is a cheaper alternative here. And to increase earnings, we started with strategies that involve knowledge of the city and the flow of people, positioning to get better trips, respect the days and times of grace to get more trips, and finally, we adopt the practice of selecting trips, avoiding bad trips, and seeking to carry out only the most profitable ones. So the driver here who wants to make money in Brazil cannot just accept any ride. He needs to do the screening, not only thinking about safety, but also for profit.
Well said. Very well said. Now, has Uber created a fuel surcharge for drivers in Brazil?
So initially, Uber promised here an investment in promotions and bonuses to help drivers. But in practice, this help is not enough for everyone, because Uber has distributed these values randomly. And only a part of the drivers receive something that it does not serve all drivers. In the USA, does the driver choose trips or accept anyone?
In the US, it depends. Some drivers will accept all of them, and then other drivers who are, driving a little bit more or know the profitability will be a little bit more exclusive on the rides they take. So they'll really look at rides and try to figure out what is going to be profitable and what's not. So what recommendations or tips do you have for drivers who are in Brazil or even in the US here?
Well, after talking to drivers around the world, no matter where you are, there are many ways you can work with apps like Uber. You can be just an executor who gets in the car, turns on the app, accepts trips, and hopes to have a good result at the end of the day. Or you can work with intelligence and strategy, maximizing your earnings and reducing your effort. I don't believe there is a right or wrong way, but I believe in the search for efficiency at work. So be analytical, study your work, always evaluate how your work is going, what went right, what went wrong, what you need to change, and connect with other drivers. The StopClub app is a tool for that, and exchange information, experience, good practice. Justify your income, don't be dependent on apps, and have an exit plan, a plan for the future. Because as much as you love to drive, no one knows what that job will be like tomorrow. So be prepared.
Those are some great tips there. And hopefully people who are watching this will kind of take that and realize that, yeah, sometimes you don't have to take all the rides. You got to be selective on the ones you take. Do you have any final thoughts on when it comes to driving Uber, continuing to profit when gas is so high, or other car maintenance, safety, or anything else?
Well, working with apps is something relatively new. I believe that we are just at the beginning of this great revolution in the gig economy. And this is very good because it's opening up many opportunities for us at the same time as it takes on great responsibilities. We have the chance today to define roles, criteria, the basis of what will be the work by applications for the next generations. There is too much to be discussed about the relationship between companies, works, and customers, especially regarding the legal sphere, which will really define the roles of this new market. It's a golden opportunity that we have in our hands to help build something that can become the foundations of the gig economy and society, something balanced that promotes a system that benefits everyone, companies, partners, and customers.
Well, thanks again for coming on today and taking the time to share the similarities and differences between driving in Brazil and the US, as well as some good tips when it comes to maximizing your time and earnings when on the road. Drive safe, everyone.